Ah, ah, oh, goodness. Goodness, what year is it? Whoa, it's 2025 already. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Blizzard Reviews. First off, Happy New Year. I know this review is coming out a little late because of the holiday season and being sick and allergies and flus and all that kind of stuff, and, spending time with the family because, we all got to do that. 2024 was an absolutely incredible year for the channel and myself. I want to thank you guys for all subscribing and following me on all my socials and keeping up with all my daily content, whether it be here on YouTube, over on TikTok, or on Instagram. So keep it up and make sure you're following me on all my social medias. And also, real quick, I got merch. I have a limited run of these 30 shirts right now. These are absolutely killer designs. They're all up on my big cartel, and you guys can go pick one up on yourself. First 10 orders get a free Blizzard goodie bag with a couple stickers, a pin, and what other stuff I'm just going to go throw in there. So make sure you go and do that. But today, we're back at it with all the reviews and all that good stuff, everything metal. Today, we're checking out the debut album from a death metal band that brings the old school sound of 90s death metal into a new school light. Today, we're taking a look at the debut album from Eternal and their new album, Cryptic Lust, out now via Carbonized Records. Eternal is a four-piece American death metal band hailing from Phoenix, Arizona. The band formed back in 2021 from a like-minded group of individuals who all love everything that is just old-school death metal from the late 80s to the early 90s, including Death, Obituary, Deicide, Morbid Angel, Dissection, and everything few and far between. They previously released 2 EPs in the past, first being Forsaken Memories that came out in April of 2022, and their 2023 EP, Faceless Evil. Both still very much channeling that inner dungeon dwelling style of death metal that we all know and love. The band was very gracious enough to send me out a copy of this release, and at first glance at the band's logo and the album art, I'm definitely thinking, yeah, this is definitely something that I'm gonna like. And first playthrough, first spin is definitely, oh yeah, these kids are cooking. With so many bands out there bringing back the old school revitalization of death metal, which has been around for about maybe 15 years now in a sense, really channeling a lot of the Dan Seagrave era of the 90s death metal with the album covers and the arts and just the chord progressions and the slowing and pendingness of 90s death metal. It opens with this really cryptic Halloween-esque King Diamond-inspired piano interlude, kind of opening everything up with a grand sort of welcoming of this album, with the first song being called Doorways of Tribulation. Very ghoulish, very creepy, very much on the nose to this Transylvanian style horror death metal that we're about to go and explore. Thank you for having titles for your intros, outros, and interludes as well. It's just a personal pet peeve of mine when it just says intro or outro or interlude. I feel like taking the creative liberty to come up with a song title for it really adds to the overall tone and feeling when it comes to putting out an album. Listening to the first track of this album, this is a band that very much wears their influences on their sleeve. With the intro track, Hammer of Internal Torment, you can hear the elements of Gore Guts and Morbid Angel and Deicide, very much creeping, pounding death metal, but layered beautifully with these sort of open howls that you would hear in bands like Obituary and a lot of Death's earlier catalog. The album art for Cryptic Lust is absolutely fiendish, very eerie, with this sort of poltergeist that represents a restless spirit awaking the tombs of these undead beings and people. And I love the blues on it. It's very cool, very chilling, very much like 40s, 50s styled. The album artwork for this being by Dedi Badik. Really incredible details. Really loving even stuff from the small cobweb details to the way the logo just drips onto everything and kind of highlights this poltergeist figurine woman in it. Super killer stuff. Really love when a band really puts time and effort into finding an album art and creating an album art that really fits the overall tone of their album. The track Spectral Immolation literally sounds like an ode to Morbid Angel, very much in the vein of Where the Slime Lives, and in the best way possible. It just emulates the sound to near perfection on this track. The song also mixes in just these really cool, intricate riffs that are reminiscent of a lot of the late 90s to early 2000s Cannibal Corpse, very slow and just very creeping and stepping and just groovy sort of going in it. And even with that, the Alex Webster bass style really filling in a lot of those like later notes in the song too. Again, a band that wears their influences on their sleeve. I love it. The interlude in the middle of the album, Dirge, is a really nice break from everything. A really nice little ear break, sort of with these hollowed, clean note guitar playing, open ringing notes that are leading us into the second half of this album, which kicks us into the album's title track, Cryptic Lust, which is fast and unrelenting and a pure death thrash speed ripper. In the song, the lyrics are very much about, obviously, necrophilia, the wanting of wanting the unwantable, or the Thorns of Regret opens up really slow riff, very reminiscent of the beginning of Slowly We Rot, which I love personally. Everything from the slow strumming of the guitar with the gongs playing in the background, and as the track just crescendos from that into this galloping, driving, headbanging riff that leads us into an even more faster and aggressive sound that we hear a lot of the newer bands that are out here, like Witch Vomit and Skeletal Remains. For this being the band's debut album, the production on this is super clean, but still retains that old school bite when it comes to something, which is something very rarely come across nowadays, especially with, as I mentioned before, the revitalization of old school death metal, which has been around for 15 years now, whether it be a lot of these bands that have been around like Skeletal Remains or Gatecreeper. I love hearing a band come out with a new album, taking something from they love and they've been listening to for their entire lives and making it their own by retaining the old school integrity of death metal and 90s death metal, whether it be more Swedish style death metal or the 90s Bay Area stuff, whether it be more Swedish style death metal like Entombed or Dismember or Unleashed, or to stuff from the 90s Bay Area, like I said before, Deicide and Obituary and Morbid Angel. The closing track for the album, Cauldron of Entrails, opens with this dragging of trains with a slow impending bass line as the rest of the band kicks in. The track bounces from just this thrashy double bass sounding death metal riff mixed in beautifully with these melodic moments with the harmonies in the background almost layered open with open chord tones and just absolutely adding a much more just somber, more mournful, I guess, sound to it. Really just saying that the things are resting, the spirits are resting, and this album is going to be laid to rest. Musicianship on this album is truly phenomenal. For this band being their debut album, they are pulling no strings and holding nothing back when showing off their music and showing off their musical practical. The album highlights everyone here as an artist and as a musician, from the crushing drums that are ever present through the entire album by drummer Xander Bridge, to guitarist vocalist Amelia Ortega, with these insane howls and shrieks and cries, while him and guitar player Sophie DeBoud deliver unrelenting riffs that are truly rooted in cavernous death metal, and bass player Max Mayhart channeling those bass tones of Alex Webster and Terry Butler that really bring a lot of the 90s sound to life with these tracks. Overall, Entrails Cryptic Lust is a fantastic debut album. It's got everything that I'm looking for in death metal. It's got tone, it's got an aura, it's got that unsettling feeling that it is to it. It's driving, it's angry, it's aggressive. I'd already put out my list of favorite albums of 2024, but for all genres of metal predominantly. This album came out a little bit late to me. I won't lie. I truly do wish I discovered this album a little bit sooner so I was able to digest it more and give it a lot more time to compare itself to a lot of the other metal that came out this past year. But as far as a first-time listener and now a new fan of this young, exciting band, I'm giving this album an 8 out of 10. This is a band that has to be taken. This is a band to be taken seriously, who takes their art seriously and takes death metal seriously. This is a band that you definitely do not want to sleep on going forth into 2025. As of tours right now, nothing announced yet, but I do know that they're going to be. You can go and support this band at their Bandcamp page down below. You can find this album there and a bunch of their other merchandise that they have, their past releases. Make sure you're following the band on all of their social media pages as well, on Instagram, wherever else you'll be able to find them. And don't forget to go pick up Cryptic Lust. It's out now. This is truly a death metal album for death metal lovers. This was made for them, and it has won me over tremendously. Huge shout out again to the band for sending me out a copy for this album. Go support them. Go support death metal. Thank you guys again for watching. Make sure you guys like, share, comment, subscribe. As always, make sure you go check out the merch in my link down below. And I'll see you guys very soon on the next reaction. And I'll see you guys very, very soon on the next band review. Take care. Bye-bye.